human being. I met Annie a long time ago, well, 7 years ago when I first moved to Tampa. And yeah, I found the studio Yogani in the heart of South Tampa, and I just fell in love, and I've been with the studio ever since. Um, Annie has a foundation now that she's the president and the founder of Exalted Warrior Foundation, and we're gonna have a chat a little bit about it. But yeah, hi Annie, how are you?
Masha.
Okay, I'm gonna mute you guys. I think everybody except Annie and me. So Annie, where are you from? So I just typically ask a few questions, and I was wondering if we can start on like a lot of people don't live in Tampa. They kind of transplants from different places, including me. So are you from Tampa or you grew up somewhere else?
From Tampa, actually was born on Davis Island, and I haven't moved particularly far away. When I do move far away, I go overseas. And so, but I've been back since 1999. Well,
Wow.
actually, since 1992, but I moved back to Tampa and started the studio in 99.
Yeah, a beautiful studio, by the way. I love being there.
Thank you.
What brought you to yoga? And I know I asked this question to pretty much everybody because I wanted to hear people's journey and how people find. I was just curious how people find yoga.
So I was living down in Key West, and I had been working in the music industry for about 10, 12 years, and loved music, loved seeing passion come from people and their creativity and their expression. But the people within the music industry were not, I didn't feel that soul connection with them. And my neighbor next door said to me, boy, you cannot keep a thought to save your life. You kind of float out in the middle of the cosmos. I think you need to do yoga. And I didn't even really know what it was at the time. So she started teaching me. She worked from home on the phone, so she could literally sort of say, lean over and like lock your leg or straighten your arm. And she actually started teaching me the Bikram sequence. And so that was my first class. I moved into a studio practice and then went to training in February of 1999. Actually, Valentine's Day is the first day of my training. So every Valentine's Day, I think, wow, what a great gift I gave myself in 1999. So and that was how it came, and it completely changed my body. And like she said, I'm still sort of, I guess we would say, vata, very kind of in the air and in the ethers. But yoga gave me the ability to just create and find and stay, most importantly, in that one pointed focus and concentration. And it really changed everything for me.
Do you still practice Bikram?
It's so interesting. I haven't in a while, so I sold the studio in the summer of 2016, and so I did not have regular access to a hot room. But I just love practicing in a hot room, and being in Florida, all I have to do is walk outside. So I will. There's certain moves like eagle arms or eagle posture in general. Just my body craves it, and it was so interesting at the beginning of the lockdown. I just was very conscientious that I was craving just pure comfort. And of course, most of us, it sort of landed initially with food. And then it was my body was craving certain comforts. So lots of restorative yoga, laying over bolsters, that kind of thing. And then one morning I woke up and I went, I just need my Bikram sequence. And it was so fascinating. I felt amazing afterwards. So I'm slowly trickling it back in amongst all of the other postures and ways of self-regulation that yoga brings us. But yeah, I might get back into a hot room soon. Who knows?
Well, since we're talking about Bikram, I'm kind of curious because I started teaching Bikram not long ago. Um, and it's not really Bikram anymore. As you know, it kind of evolves, the style evolves into something different. It's now called Hot 26 and 2, Ghosh Yoga, whatever, like there are a lot of different versions of it. So, how do you feel about this? Because I know a lot of strict Bikram yoga folks are really into that particular style and dialogue that's related to Bikram style. But I also know a lot of people who are trying to get away from it. So what is your opinion? I'm curious.
That's a great question. One of the things, and we have to be realistic, is that the moniker, the human being that named it Bikram Yoga, is a total megalomaniac. As a human being, he's gotten way off course in terms of using his ego, or his ego is engaging him in the world, which we know is completely opposite of where we're trying to get to in yoga. However, as my teacher in those formative 9-week, we were there, we did practice twice a day for 9 weeks, but it literally, like, we were in the studio 24/7 practically with him. I think he has a boot camp mentality in his trainings, especially the old ones. There was only 48 of us in the training. Now there's hundreds and hundreds, like literally between 200 to 400 people per training. And at the time, I remember distinctly him sitting down and saying, you at the front of the room, it has nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with your students. And I remember being like, well, that's kind of fresh coming from that one. But at the same time, it really resonated. And it, I think, really did formulate where I went to through the years of this studio, because my first yoga student ever was my mom. And she was 72 years old when she started her Bikram practice, had a major kyphosis, kind of like a hunchback. I joked that she was my hunchback of Notre Dame, which is a terrible thing to say to your mother, but she had a great sense of humor. She had polio as a child, and within 3 months of practice, and she practiced every day. She couldn't, in the beginning, when we do our pranayama, she couldn't put her head more than about 8 to 10 degrees above the horizon, and then she'd start to dry heave because she had such compression in the cervical spine. 3 months every day, she was absolutely pain-free in her neck, which was astounding. So I believe in the power of that form of yoga. Obviously, I believe in the power of yoga in general, but I'm very much a believer that yoga modifies itself to what that body can do. I think it really informed me. That experience with my mom, that experience with Bikram himself, really informed the work that I found and the love that I found in working with Exalted Warrior.
Hmm. Yeah. And I just wanted to move to Exalted Warrior and your foundation. And what would you like to say about this? This is amazing work that you do with veterans.
Thank you. Exalted Warrior definitely came from um, my heart work. My second student ever to fill out my Yogani paperwork back in '99, what turned out to be a Navy SEAL, Rear Admiral, head of Homeland Security for SOCOM. And we practiced together twice a day sometimes. And sometimes it would just be us. And sometimes no one would show up to the 7 o'clock class, and I would have fallen asleep in front of space heaters to heat this little room that I was renting. And I'd wake up and kind of be like, oh no, nobody showed up. And I'd open the door and there would be a bag of Wendy's. And because it was right across the street from a Wendy's, I'm like, yes, a burger in a chocolate shake or a Frosty at 7:30 in the morning. I don't eat like that anymore, thank God. But I did at the time because I could, because I was young enough so that it didn't land or stay for a while. But long story short, he in 2006 went to Walter Reed Army Medical Center to see a young SEAL that had been blown up in Iraq. And he called me immediately after that meeting and he said, we have to do something. We have to do something. I was like, what are you talking about? And interestingly enough, the young couple that he met, he said to them, how can I support you? What can I do? And she said, I just want to get back to yoga. I've been by my husband's side every day for 3 months since he came home. He's a double above the knee amputee. I just think the yoga would feel good for him and I need it for my sanity and I think it would help his. And that sort of sprung this idea that really, as the universe conspires for us, it just launched us into this. I was flying up to Walter Reed every 4 to 6 weeks, working in the amputee department, working with staff, meeting everybody, and then started working individually with the service members. Some single amputees, double amputees, triple amputees, and there are quad amputees. I've only worked with one of those young men before, but the reality was that they had the baseline awareness that we had to learn somewhat in the reality of our breath. And it was so inspiring to see the triumph of the human spirit, even though visibly it was mangled, but the spirit still was strong, and these young men and women were very strong at the time of injury. So that just launched this whole new world of saying, hey, let's see what everybody else can do. Because we know, as having all of our parts and pieces, that we have a hamstring cranky sometimes, or we pull a neck when we're, our neck muscle when we're sleeping, and how that kind of tanks us almost to a little bit. And now our nervous system can kind of ride the waves with all of that. But when we're dealing, and these young men and women are dealing with that 24/7, it's really intense. And honestly, it just really captured my heart and captured my imagination as a teacher, especially starting out as a Bikram teacher, teaching the same thing every day. I was teaching 25 classes a week when I first opened the studio. But still the individuality of each person in the room made it each class unique, even though sometimes I was saying the same things, there were different pieces to support people with. And Exalted Warrior just grew from there, and we provide qualified adaptive yoga teachers to military hospitals, VA hospitals all over the world. And it's really a beautiful, beautiful heart work, and more hospitals are starting to engage in it. Places that aren't military are looking, and I think, as we all know, with this mental health situation we are in and will be seeing grow, we need to have awareness of what yoga does and how it can become trauma sensitive for anybody with anything in every way. So I think that's what I can say about that.
Amazing. And I know you also teach I rest yoga nidra, which is very, very powerful technique. And I don't know if it qualifies for psychotherapy, but it's definitely a very powerful technique for anybody who needs some kind of grounding and settling and just be back to normality of some sort. Yeah.
It's a very welcoming practice, and one of the things I love about it when I've been teaching it is that anybody can relate. And in a way, it's almost naturally trauma sensitive, so that I'm not inputting anything specifically into your experience. But what happens is that I always kind of describe it like being a pinball in a pinball game. I'm the flappers. I'm kind of like, okay, go this way, go that way, without saying, notice this, or do this, or think of this. It's more an invitation to notice the internal experience. so it doesn't bump into anyone's religion or discomfort, even though someone's religious experience or someone's discomfort, trauma, awareness, or whatever may rise. It gives us all the same tool of being gentle with ourselves. And that has been it is probably the most beautiful element of yoga and meditation I've ever experienced. And I love that part. I love, love, love it for that.
Yeah, great. So what are you planning to teach today?
I was gonna see what you guys might need, but I always start in a nervous system reset posture just to kind of reset the whole nervous system. And then there's abs usually, and then we'll find some strength moves. A lot of people that I've been working with lately are like, oh, my hips are trashed. So I'm trying to help do some hip work. I see a couple of heads nodding in the background, so that's good. And if you want to point to a body part, if you need that, we can input some things there. I always like to find a little bit of strength work. One, so we can feel stronger, but two, that sometimes that muscle load helps diffuse any sort of extra overexcited or stressed out nervous system holding on. So I figured we'd do that. I'm a hamstring junkie. I love stretching my hamstrings, so hopefully we'll find some space for them and see what we can get up to in a nice, not ages long, but you know, a nice long shavasana, more than a minute.
Great.
That works for you guys.
Yes, I'm ready.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. I'm gonna mute
All
my.
right.
Annie, do you need to see our mats, or can you?
It would be great if you want to, Rachel, but I'll kind of, yeah, I can kind of keep an eyeball if you feel comfortable with it. Sometimes
Yeah,
people.
I'll move my tablet so you can see my mat.
Great, thank you. All right, you guys ready to go? Excellent. Okay, so let's go ahead and start on the back. And I would just take a few big inhales and exhales here to settle in, and bring your feet, with your knees bent, bring your feet sitting bones distance apart. And then gently just bring the arms out wherever they want to go. So the big thing here is to really listen to your body. Our practice gives us the opportunity to listen. And as all of the sweet animals in the families get settled too, I love it. I love watching the animals practice too. It makes for a joyous space. So one thing to think about is bring your feet sitting bones distance apart. So it's narrower than your hips. Yeah. And it feels weird. It becomes an active experience, and we want it to be active for these next few moments. But in the moment here, the breath is just simple. The body is breathing itself. And what we're actually doing is giving the core, but namely and specifically the psoas and the vagus nerve, a chance to discharge some of the tensions and engagements that they've been holding on to. In a few more breaths, you may notice that the inner thighs may start to shake a little, and in different times, or maybe tomorrow, you might even feel the whole extension of the femur and the upper leg shake. And that is totally normal. So please don't let thinking mind run away with something's wrong with me. Just notice here how the breath is still breathing itself. The body is gently softening here. And notice if you're working your arms or hands or jaw in any way. And as the whole spine softens here, what we're actually doing is releasing the gripping that comes with the psoas and the vagus nerve holding the spine. And literally there's this awareness that we're holding it together. And we all know from these last 4 months just how intense this holding can be, especially when we can't see the danger. And that's been a very interesting experience for everyone's nervous system. So from here, go ahead and take your feet as wide as your mat now, and then just begin to gently tick-tock the legs back and forth. Knees can just rock from side to side. And if you'd like, take the arms over your head and start to find Ujjayi breath. Big inhales and exhales through the nose. Obviously, if you have a deviated septum and you can't breathe through your nose, then breathe through your mouth. But if you have super yogi powers and can breathe through your ear, go ahead and do that too. That's kind of a fun one. Good. And then on your next exhale, drop your knees to the right and just let them hang out there. So notice how that left leg may try to do something for you. Doesn't have to. Doesn't have to at all. And then if you'd like and you want to take it a little deeper, but yet still keep it somewhat passive, go ahead. Let's see, we took our knees to the right. Go ahead and take your right ankle onto your left knee. Be nice to the back of your SI joint. If that left SI joint doesn't appreciate this right now, take the ankle off. And from here, take your left arm over your head and take a huge inhale into the back of your left lung. Inflate the whole line of the back of your left lung. And as you exhale, let everything soften, the belly softens, the face softens, and gently release the right foot back to the floor. We'll come back through center here and adjust your shoulders under gently and find your way into bridge. And engage the upper arms down into the ground. You can bring your fingertips onto the hip points and be gentle in your neck. Go ahead and make sure that there's a gentle extension out of the line of your neck. And let's go ahead and bring the feet sitting bones distance apart. So it's a tiny bit narrower than we're used to. If that is cranky in your knee joint, please come down or widen the feet. We do not need to crank out the knees. So take a big inhale here. The arms can come way out to the side, come up on your tippy toes, and from the top of your neck to your tailbone, lower your spine down, vertebrae by vertebrae. And we may not get each of the 26 to touch individually. It might feel like 4 or 5. Good. And then drop your knees to the left. Just drop those knees to the left. Good. You may need to wiggle that right foot out a little bit wider since we were a bit wider when we went in the last time. Good. And then feel here. Big inhale. Take that right arm over your head this time and take a big breath into the back of your right lung. So filling that space into the back of your right lung. And take your left heel and bring it on to the right knee. And again, notice here, if it feels delicious, awesome. If it doesn't, don't force it. There's absolutely no yoga police on duty today. So let your jaw rest, but your breath gets stronger. When in doubt, breathe more. And notice any tensions, especially in the face. Maybe the hinges of your jaw are working for you. And as we move through practice today and we unpack the way we're holding tensions and strains in the body, you may find that you feel those tensions and strains in other places. So we'll keep checking in to the fullest expression of the posture and the way the body translates it through the rest of the system. And go ahead and slowly come back onto your back again. Find neutral, and the feet
The heels are about hips distance apart. Once again, let's make our way into bridge. Upper arms push down, fingertips on the hip bones, and that way you can test out the balance of your pelvis, either to the ceiling or to the floor. And we'll slowly heel toe the feet a little bit closer together. And that makes it a bit more challenging to keep the pelvis lifted. And here you have an option. You can press the upper arms down still and keep the hands on the hip bones. Or if you'd like, you can go ahead and interlock your fingers underneath the lower back. And then squeeze your inner thighs gently together. Pelvis is lifted, lower ribs are rising. And then inhale, take your right leg straight up to the ceiling. Flex your right foot, squeeze your left thigh towards the center line. Roll your right ankle, watch your right big toe, add a little bit of proprioception here as that left leg starts to wonder, what on earth are we doing? And then we'll flex the right foot. And on an inhale, gently lower your pelvis to touch the hands. On an exhale, we push the pelvis back up, squeezing the thighs towards each other. Inhale, we lower the hips to touch. Exhale, we press back up. And find this 3 more times. Slowing the inhale, filling the lungs. Exhale, powering the pelvis back up. Squeezing the legs. We've got 2 more. Pelvis down. Exhale up. I know that you want to try to hyperventilate to get through it faster. Let's try not to. Good. Exhale, take the pelvis up, and the right leg comes down. Go ahead, widen your feet for a moment. Come back into a quote-unquote normal bridge. And notice how all of a sudden bridge is a much happier place to be now that you have both feet on the ground. So big inhale and to float the chest high. And then heel toe the feet together again. And root your right foot, take your left leg up to the ceiling, roll the ankle. Get all the snap, crackle, pops out of the way. Good, and then flex that left foot. Now squeeze the muscles of both quads. And inhale, lower the pelvis to touch. Exhale, power it back up. Good, inhale, lower to touch. Exhale, back up. And again, 3 more on the rhythm of your breath. Really use your breath. Your exhale is super important here. Excellent. And on that last exhale, we'll bend the left knee and once again, bridge. So give yourself the opportunity here to really work the rib cage nice and open in your bridge. Beautiful. And we'll be here for about 3 to 5 more breaths. So make peace with the intensity. Think about this. Take your inner line of your quad and gently spin it down towards the floor. Unclench your glutes and broaden your pelvis up towards the sky or the ceiling, wherever you are. Beautiful. 1 more big inhale here. Arms come out to the side like airplane wings. Come on your tippy toes and again, lower vertebrae by vertebrae all the way back down to the ground. Beautiful. And at this moment, take your legs way out to the corners of your mat, your arms out wide. Big inhale here. And exhale, just let the full body weight rest. If your back is cranky, again, you can always have the knees bent. But find 2 to 3 more big inhales here. And really breathe into the belly. All of that work, yes, it was the back body was holding us, but all of the work of the psoas really needs a little bit of extra love from us in the moment. Beautiful. Good. And on your next inhale, draw the knees to the chest and go ahead and really slowly roll from side to side. Good, and we'll take that left leg down, but keep the left heel hovering over the ground. The left leg goes out, really fire up your left quad. Draw your right knee towards the right shoulder. Good. Flex that left foot. Keep everything engaged, all the muscles of the leg. The only thing here though is the right leg is heavy in this moment so that we can find a bit more work in that right hip flexor. So when muscles are softening, that engagement doesn't catch us and we can get a little deeper into the joint. So from here though, we're gonna flex the right foot now as well. Squeeze the right side of the torso. Lift your head and shoulders, looking down towards your left big toe, left foot hovering. Release your arms forward towards your left foot. And simultaneously pull your right thigh bone in. Beautiful. Settle your jaw. Pull the belly button down. Good. Reach out through the arms. Soften your jaw, soften the eyes. Notice where your body starts to engage to help you, that it doesn't need to. So big inhale across the chest. And exhale, slowly release back onto the back. Both knees can come in. Make little circles, big circles with your knees. Good, just letting the blood flow back through. Good, super excited. We get to go to the other side. Right leg goes long and hovers. Right foot flexes, squeeze your quad. Good, left leg super heavy so that we can massage deeper into the descending colon, as well as open that left hip. So the muscles of the arms are doing the work in the left leg for this moment. Really push your right heel away from you. Good, and now flex the left foot. Lift the head and shoulders, belly button pulls down, and the arms reach forward. So you're trying to press the belly button down, but your shoulders and head are off the ground. Fire up your right quad, flex your left foot, left thigh bone squeezing towards the left shoulder. Good, pull it down. Reach through the arms, big inhales and exhales. Good, belly button pulls down. Think about pushing your sacrum, the upper rim of your sacrum down a tiny bit more, and gently release. Bend the knees, roll from side to side, let the warmth move through the body. And we'll very slowly come back onto the back, and once again, make your way into bridge. We're gonna find one more psoas bit here. So we're on the upper arms. The upper arms are really pushing down, giving us the power to lift the lower ribs up. So find the balance on your pelvis. Send your tailbone towards your knees, then try to release your glutes. That's a weird one. So the plate of your pelvis is pushing up. Now go ahead and bring the feet a little bit closer together, and if they can touch, that's great. If they can't, that's great too. Find your comfort zone and take your right leg out and squeeze the legs together. So the thigh bones are squeezing towards each other. Notice how your right hip wants to drop. Try to keep the pelvis parallel. Do not be surprised if there's a lot of shaking going on. Take a big inhale, flex your right foot, and release the right leg back down. Good. Lucky moment, other side. Left leg goes long. Squeeze the knees together. Pelvis lifts. Now push down into your right foot. Squeeze your thigh bones together. Flex the left foot, spread the toes. Good, you guys. Big inhale across the rib cage. Pelvis stays parallel. Woo, welcome the shakes. Pelvis lifts and release the left leg. And one big inhale here, widen the feet, big bridge. Open it up, get long through the spine. And release all the way back down. Arms can come out, slowly lowering the vertebrae all the way back down. Bend the knees towards the chest, roll from side to side. And then very gently we'll roll up to a seated position. Come all the way across onto the hands and knees. And we'll start here with cat-cow. So slowly drop the belly button down. The gaze goes forward. Please be nice to your neck as we warm up. Exhale, round. Really find the pads of each finger pushing into the ground.
Do this about 4 to 5 more times on the rhythm of your breath. And at any point, if something feels too deep or too strong, back out a little and slow your exhale down. Harness your body's natural balancing that happens in the nervous system when you engage your breathing. When we inhale, we're stimulating our sympathetic nervous system, the body's natural fight or flight. Unfortunately, in times like this and regular stress, we tend to hang out there in a sympathetic nervous system expression. When we slow our exhale down, we are engaging the body's natural rest and digest. So slowing the exhale down helps us to be present in a space of discomfort. And from here, go ahead and bring your forearms down onto the ground. So first things first, if you have a block, it's totally not necessary, but just to show you, you can scoop your index and thumb, making like a little L, around the edges of your block. And what happens there is when you bring the palms to the ground and the forearms land down parallel, hopefully your elbows are staying in line with your shoulders. If you don't have a block, totally fine. Clasp opposite elbows around the opposite elbows with your hands, and spin the palms down, forearms parallel like the sides of the letter H. Go ahead and walk your knees back underneath the hips, and we cat-cow again. And it's going to feel very limited, but the idea is really pushing your forearms into the ground and moving where you can. Be nice to your neck, maybe send the crown of the head forward and keep it a little more neutral so the neck isn't creating the movement the rest of the spine has to. For your forearms, really push into the forearms, push them down and the tiniest bit forward and broaden your collarbones. Take the back of, actually take your triceps and spin them inward towards each other. And then from here, tuck your toes underneath you, and we'll hover the knees about ankle height off the ground. So it's kind of like a confused in-between moment between dolphin and dolphin plank. So the belly pulls in, send the gaze forward, shoulders pull back. Shoulders are right over the elbows. Take a big inhale here. And on an exhale, straighten your legs out and then slowly walk your feet in a little bit to find dolphin. The head is dangling off the end of the spine. Wherever you are, bend your knees a little bit so that you can let your neck drop and so that you can make sure that your hamstrings aren't cranky. One more big inhale here. Push the forearms down and forward, tailbone up and back. Beautiful. And then slowly release down onto the knees. Come back up onto the hands. And inhale, take your right leg back behind you. Look down to the space between the thumbs. Fire the left shin down into the ground. And keep the upper torso across the collarbones. Keep everything still. Inhale, pull your right knee to your right elbow. Knee goes out to the right, back, and back around. So we're gonna make a big circle. Keep your upper torso still. Try, see how we're leaning to the left when the knee goes out to the right? Keep your core fired up. Good, try not to rock in your wrists as well. It's really hard. It takes a lot of control of the upper body. One more big circle here. Take the right leg back and exhale, bring your right foot forward to meet your right hand. And we'll begin our little hamstring stretch. So lunge it forward, get long through the occipital ridge. Exhale, rock it back and make sure that you find a comfortable space for your hips. If you need to widen the stance between the right foot and the left knee, go for it. If you need to fold your mat underneath your left knee so there's some extra padding, do that too.
Couple things to make sure of. Keep your right knee over the right ankle, not beyond your toes, but just over the right ankle. And when you come back in the hamstring, the left hip stays above the left knee, so that all the points that are on the ground are rooting. Rooting into the foundation gives us the freedom to grow. And ultimately, from a nervous system standpoint, it gives us the security to grow. Because if we feel wobbly and dangerous, the nervous system is going to respond to that, not to our desire to get longer in the spine. Good. On your next exhale, we'll find a few breaths in stillness in the hamstring part of the posture. So notice if your spine feels really round, can you tilt your tailbone back from the south? So we call that sassy ass. And you're gonna send the lower ribs forward. Shoulders, try not to wear them like earrings, pull them back so that the belly pulls in. And then bring some extra awareness to your right quad. If your knee needs to stay bent for the health and peace of your hamstring, go for it, but spread those toes. When we spread the toes, all the connective tissue kicks in. And sometimes even a little detail like that changes the whole experience because it travels up the leg through the glute into the lower back. Big inhale here. Exhale, we're gonna slide the right foot back a few and come forward into a bit of a deeper lunge. Turn your right toes out a good 15 to 20 degrees. So we're opening up that right foot. And then let the pelvis drop. If you have a block, you can bring the floor up to you. If it feels supported, you can come down to the floor. Whatever feels best in this moment. Let your neck be heavy. But one thing here, squeeze your inner thighs towards each other. Keep that inner line engagement. And then lift Mula Bandha. It's the same muscular engagement that you would use to stop yourself from going to the bathroom midstream. That one. No showing that one, because that's highly inappropriate. But we're going to lift up through the belly. So be staying strong in the core. Don't let it all droop. Stay strong. Beautiful. One more big inhale here. Good. Exhale, the hands come down. And we slowly lift ourselves back up. Now, from here, go ahead, kick the right heel forward, back into the hamstring stretch for a moment. Inhale, long spine. Exhale, slide the right knee back to meet the left knee. Cat-cow 3 times. Inhale, lengthen forward. Exhale, round your spine. Really press into the hands, pull the pelvis forward. 2 more. And keep the strength in your bandhas. Keep the strength in the roots that are touching the ground. And then we'll stop here and keep the gaze down between the thumbs. Root your finger pads, really press, and check that those wrists are shoulder distance. I know we're big and broad because we're strong, but we want to be realistic in the width of our own shoulders. Root your right shin down. Inhale, take your left leg up. Notice immediately with that left leg where it is, we tend to lean to the right. Come back between your hands. Gaze there, strong right shin. Inhale, pull the left knee forward. Don't let that right hip poke out to the right. Take the left knee out and around. So really, what's happening is there's a big engagement, left hand, right shin, and right arm, but the other 2 are working hard too. So big circles here. Big circles here. Good. One more, here we go. We'll bring the left foot forward, plant it by the left hand. Happy to be out of that little moment with our hips. And we'll begin our hamstring float. Lunge it forward, get long through the spine. Exhale, take it back. And if this is your tighter side, notice what happens to thinking mind. It drops into the story of why. That's a really fascinating part of our practice, is we, even though we're quote unquote in the moment of our breath, thinking mind is really clever. It throws a fascinating story into the mix while we're moving to try to distract us. Because it doesn't want to get into the hamstring. It wants to tell you its story. So just notice when you wander. And a big part of wandering is coming home. So notice if you are gentle with yourself after you wandered. Don't beat yourself up. Just gently come back to letting your breath guide you home. On this exhale, we'll hang out in the hamstring stretch and notice what needs to happen. Maybe a little more width between the left heel and the right knee. Maybe the spine can get a little longer. Be nice to your neck. Drop your chin down towards the throat a little. Extend through the occipital ridge. Stay with your breath. And notice what needs to happen. Even if the left knee is bent, can you engage your quad muscles? That'll help open up the hamstring insertion as it goes into the glute. Shoulder blades back, gaze is easy. Let the muscles of your eyes soften. Beautiful. And from here, we lunge forward again to the left foot. We turn the left toes out to the left, a good 30 degrees, maybe 15 or 28 if that's specific for you. And we lunge forward. Again, if you feel comfortable, if it's still delicious to come to the elbows, let it. But don't get lazy in that right hip. Fire up the quads towards each other. Fire up the thigh bones to meet towards the center. Are they going to touch? No. But in that engagement will help stabilize your pelvis. Ladies, that's really a cue more for us. Our SI joints tend to go wonkadoodle, which is a very technical yogic term from an old Sanskrit text. Wonkadoodle. Totally kidding. But just engaging the inner line, lifting through Mula Bandha, helps keep the energy that you're creating in the torso with the organs, creating life and life force as it moves through the body. One more big inhale to fill the lungs, fill that left hip and right hip flexor. And exhale, slowly come back up. We turn the left toes forward again, and one little moment of re-engagement into the left hamstring. Good. And then slowly lunge forward. Take the left knee back. Come about hips width apart with your knees. Keep your hips right above the knees and very gently walk yourself forward to Anahatasana. So we're finding that deep release in the upper chest. If this is too deep, catch your chest on a block or stay on your forearms. You can turn this into a really lovely deep neck release if you need to, or the forehead can come to the ground. And notice the back of your, notice the top of your shins. Notice how the legs from knees back kind of forget that they exist. So notice those places. Let your neck soften. Take the biggest inhale you own into the back of both lungs. Good, the forehead can rest. And then the next inhale expands the ribs, the lower ribs away from each other. Good, settle your jaw, settle your throat. Beautiful. And then slowly we'll come all the way back up onto hands and knees. Set your left shin down, take your right leg back. Good, get long through your spine. Pull the floor up into the belly. Elongate through the spine, and as you exhale, right foot comes forward. Lunge forward to right knee over the right ankle. Tuck your left toes, high lunge. But keep your torso in the moment on your right thigh. We're on the ball of the back foot. So push the ball of your back foot down. Take all of your focus and attention and push the entire print of your heel into the ground, but lift your toes. So the whole right foot hits, just your toes lift up. Left thigh bone goes back. Option, you can keep the hands here, drop your pelvis a tiny bit, squeeze your thighs, and release your arms back. And get as long as you can through your spine. Squeeze your right quad, squeeze your left quad. If you'd like, you can micro bend your elbows, almost like you're trying to get the elbows to touch across the back of your spine. Push into your right heel, squeeze your right quad, big inhale. Exhale, release your hands, bend your back knee, and hop your left leg forward a little so that you find yourself in pyramid posture. Put your hand on your lower back, on your sacrum, to balance your pelvis towards the ceiling. And then from here, bring your right hand down and press the ball of your foot to the floor. What happens is a lot of us supinate. We roll to the outside of that right foot. What happens when we really press equally into the ball of the foot is that we fire up that IT band and that inner line, that adductor, the adductor that brings the legs together. So inhale, get long through your spine, broaden across your collarbones. Exhale, fold down. Do that a few more times if you'd like. You can roll up and extend the spine out. And exhale, take it down. Let your jaw be soft. One more, roll it up. Fire up your quads, keep them strong. Exhale, fold down. And we'll hold here for breath. One option is the arms can rest. Another option, the arms can walk back to the back of your mat. Whatever feels best in your body. Keep the shoulders gently lifting up and away. Make space around the ears. Good, big inhale here. And very gently bend your right knee a little. Hands forward, walk your left foot to meet your right foot. Balance out here for a second and just notice what's happening. Just notice wherever you feel spaciousness or where you feel a little crusty. It's totally normal. Walk your right leg back, way back. And go ahead and stay in the high lunge. And again, remember, you can have width between the feet. Left heel and the ball of the right foot, but you really want to dig the ball of the right foot down. Fire up your right quad, long spine here. Extend forward, lower ribs can touch the thigh bone in a moment, and squeeze your left glute and left quad. Arms come back. Launch your chest forward. Shoulder blades come back. Bend your elbows, take a big inhale here, and the elbows can start to pull back over the back, but let the neck be long. Push into your left heel, really dig it in. If you want, you can lift your toes and really extend down through that left leg. Big inhale here, belly in. And exhale, release the hands down, bend the back leg and hop it forward a little bit. So we get a nice long line down through that left leg. Inhale, long spine. And exhale, fold it over. Check your pelvis. Dial it in. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold forward. One more round. Create the space, create the extension. And then let yourself be with it. And so we'll take a few breaths here, just lengthening. Again, options. Hands can stay to the earth, or the fingers can point to the back of the mat and walk away. Good. Strong right quad as well. And this side, finding the pelvic balance might feel easier or more challenging. Gift of differences. We've all got our own personal differences, yet somehow when it comes to differences out in the world, we get ourselves really worked up. So if we find the peace within, let's translate it out. One more big inhale here. Fire up that left quad. I had forgotten. Good, and bend that left leg. Walk the right leg forward. Long spine here. Inhale, get extended out of the lower back. Exhale, fold forward. One more inhale, roll up halfway. Keep those quads engaged. Exhale, fold forward. And as you settle into this forward fold again, maybe the knees are deeply bent, maybe they're micro bent. Wherever you're going, take your tailbone higher. Create that space, drop your head. And if you'd like options, you could clasp your arms around the back of the knees and slide the elbows down a little bit more, binding the torso a bit closer to the chest. Good. And then as the tailbone goes high, gently roll forward into the ball of your foot. Obviously keep your heels engaged, but lift up through your quads. Lift your kneecaps up to the hips. Internal rotation on your thigh bones. Good, big inhale here, let your head be heavy. And biggest breath into the back of your lungs. Exhale, extend down through the crown of your head. Beautiful. And slowly release the hands, unravel the torso, lift it up, and gently come up onto your toes, and we'll lower the pelvis towards the heels. This one's not going to go the way we would normally think. So hold here, find a gaze towards the earth, and as the knees are still sort of pointing away but up, slowly work your balance here. We're squeezing everything to the center line, the core is lifted, and then slowly start to drop your thigh bones back towards the floor. If you need your blocks on either side, that's a lovely way to support yourself. Long spine, shoulders back. When you feel the wiggles, thank them for being there. It's proprioception, it's your body working properly. Don't freak out. Slow your exhale down. Slowly release the hands either to the front, to the sides, and unceremoniously land on your bum. Good. So bring the soles of the feet together and notice how initially we want to pull them in as tight as we can. Push them away. Good. So make sure that you have your ankle bones on something soft. Every now and then I clunk them onto the wood, and it's just not glamorous at all. So we'll squeeze the heels together and squeeze the balls of your feet together so then your toes spread. So we're squeezing the inner line. The hands can come to either the knees or the shins to help a little bit of a pelvic tilt forward, but we lift the groin, we lift the belly, we lift the chest, squeeze the heels, squeeze the ball of the foot. And here we can soften the arms, soften the face, squeeze your heels like crazy. Your adductors, the ones with the AD, were not like this in this moment. So we lift the groin, we lift the belly, settle the jaw, maybe even shake your jaw back and forth a little. Beautiful. And slowly soften. Take your left leg out long in front of you. Good, yes, and just, there's no mirroring, proper mirroring here. Go ahead and pull your right knee towards your right shoulder, almost like we did when we were laying on our backs. Pull that right thigh in, tall spine. But remember, if your knee is cranky, you can grab back your thigh bone to help pull in. Lift up through the spine, and on an exhale, that right leg starts to kick up and out. If you'd like, you can walk your hands to your calf muscle or to your heel, or to the ball of your foot, wherever it feels good. Wherever you are now, push the ball of your foot to the ceiling, toes flex back. Good. Pull your belly in, tall spine. Drop the shoulders. If you'd like, the gaze could go to the toes, the gaze could go to the ceiling, and you drill for oil with your tailbone. Press your left thigh bone down, but keep the heel on the ground. Good. One more big inhale here. Fire up both legs. And on an exhale, slowly bend your right knee. Keep the right foot flexed, and we'll lay the right ankle just off the left edge of your left knee. Inhale, lift up through the torso, groin, belly, chest lifts. Exhale, begin to gently walk the hands forward. Good adjustments. If your knee is cranky, go ahead and you can prop it if you have a prop. But please keep your right foot super flexed so that you can protect your right knee. Inhale, long spine here. Exhale, fold. And your choice, whether to let the neck soften out, which really helps the shoulders glide back down the back, but really firm your left quad. Good. If you'd like, you can create a bind around that left foot. Draw the torso forward, get long in the spine and the back of the left leg. Inhale here. Good. Let it feel delicious. So sometimes delicious means backing out a micro or nano piece and then making the expression more spacious for the breath. Slowly inhale, release. We're going to keep the legs the way that they are. Left hand comes across to the right knee. Right hand behind the lower back. And as we head into a twist, I know that since we're all doing yoga, we want to really be mindful of your neck. So I'm inviting you to take the spine first, the neck second. So the right hand can go back, drill for oil with your tailbone, come straight up through the spine. Big inhale into the rib cage. Exhale, the left lower ribs begin to find their cruise around the axis of the spine. Then maybe the gaze can start to go. The eyes lead the way, and the body will follow. Again, drilling for oil with the tail, fire that left thigh bone down into the ground. Heart lifts, big inhale. Beautiful. Dog-assisted twists are the best. Take a big inhale into the left lung. And on the exhale, one more little twist. And inhale slowly to unravel. Beautiful. One more bend on that right knee, pull it in. Release the right leg back down. Super exciting moment. Same thing, other side, yet it will be vastly different. So the right thigh bone roots down, left knee pulls in. Check your pelvis, make sure you haven't snuck off into different balance at the front edge of the mat. Lift up through the spine. Good. Notice I just cheated here. Make sure you don't roll to the back of your sitting bones. You want to try to find that bloop, that middle spot. I wish they did say bloop when we got it, but that's what proprioception is all about. Slide those hands forward. Maybe the heel, maybe the ball of the foot. Extend it through the spine, through that left leg. Don't forget your right leg. Right femur lays down towards the floor. And what happens when we really focus all that work of pushing down the right femur, if we have calf muscles that are more round in nature, what will happen is the calf muscle engages, and when we flex the foot, the heel comes up, but then we lose the engagement of the right femur down. So drop that right heel as well. Sometimes we can go further into a posture, but it doesn't necessarily enhance the foundation of the posture itself. So it's always a dance, back and forth, to where it feels most free in the posture. Big inhale. The gaze can go high, even all the way up if you'd like, as the shoulder blades drop down. And then very gently we'll bend that left knee. It's my ankle. Lay the ankle across the right knee. And so we want to keep the right quad fired up, so if it bumps into the ankle bone, it doesn't hurt. Left hand behind us. Again, drill for oil with the tailbone. Stack everything above it. Right arm comes across to the left knee. Keep that left foot flexed to protect the knee joint. Drill for oil in your tailbone. Heart lifts. And then those right lower ribs create the movement first. Then maybe the neck joins in, only if it's necessary. The eyes can lead the way for the neck, and then the rest of the body. Take a breath into the back of your right lung, and if you're flexible in the lower back, snuggle your lower ribs into the body a bit more. And you'll feel that extend out the lower and middle part of your spine. Really breathe into the thoracic spine as much as you can. Good. Notice the weight between the sitting bones. Is it equal? Come up through the palate, up through the crown of the head. On your next inhale, slowly unravel. Beautiful. And go ahead and turn yourself onto your back for Shavasana. So if you have a bolster or blocks, I'd suggest that maybe you tuck them underneath the knees to let your lower back rest here. If you have a bolster, tuck it under there. If you're in a cold environment, means you're not in Florida. If you're in a cold environment, go ahead and cover yourself and just wriggle around. Take a few breaths here and get all the wiggles and squiggles out of the way. Fill your belly, and on your exhale, completely let your breath go. And if you need to do that more, do it more. And then ask your body where your arms need to go. And then soften the whole body. I invite you here to just welcome everything. Every sensation that passes your skin, the awareness of the waistband of your pants, any flavors or smells that you notice, any images that cross the movie screen of your mind if your eyes are closed, or whatever your eyes are resting on if your eyes are open. Noticing the sounds in the space where you're practicing and the sound of my voice. As you settle in here, let thinking mind, just like the muscles you just worked in the body, let thinking mind rest. There's literally no way to be here wrong. And most importantly, there's no wrong way to be you. So settle here. Soften everything. And when thinking mind starts to wander off to more exciting things or the rest of the day or last week, think it. But then gently guide it back to feeling your body as it breathes itself. So there's nothing to do here. Your body knows how to breathe you. So rest here. Soften here for the next few moments in silence together as we allow the whole system to soften.
the way that your body is breathing itself. Just noticing the gentle rise and fall of your belly, or maybe the sensation of your breath as it moves in and out of the body. And welcome thinking mind as it rests back into its own stillness, softening and welcoming this open, spacious awareness with nothing to engage with. It too can gently find rest. Notice any sensations on your skin, the air as it touches your skin and moves past, the texture of your clothing. When you're ready, allow the body to remain still here. Gently blink your eyes back open, just noticing colors and textures and shapes around you, all the while remaining in stillness. When you're ready, notice what parts of the body need or want to move first. And begin to find small movements, just gently reawakening the body, coming back to a more awake, aware, and gently eyes open state of awareness. If you'd like, you can make your way back to a comfortable seated position. There's no rush. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you so much, Masha, for inviting me. It was a pleasure to share practice with you all. Namaste.